G'day, in today's blog I talk about creativity, what I would do if I wasn't afraid, and my few favourite quotes that get my creative shit flowing and keep me out of trouble every day. So I was thinking before about things that make me think, things that make me create, and the things that put me in the right place and on the right path. And I love quotes. I love the daggy, cheesy, motivational quote is something that I really like, because I love to get somebody else's perspective on something that I am probably going through also, or thinking about also. So I thought I'd share the three that really stay with me and that I think about, almost every day. And the first one is Ralph Waldo Emerson, because I just think he writes from my head, or wrote from my head in the future. But when he said that most of the shadows of our life are caused by us standing in our own sunshine. And I think I do that a lot, and I think all of us do it to some degree, that we block the sun out from ourselves. We can't see the forest for the trees sometimes, and we take into account everybody else's feelings and opinions and whatever, and forget our own, put ourselves in the background, push ourselves down that pyramid of love, attention and direction. And I think it's a bit sad, really, that we can be not only our worst enemies, sometimes we can be our only enemies. And it's a bit sad. Second one is probably my favorite, and if you've seen my stuff, you know that I talk about this one a lot. It's a Carl Jung quote, and he said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." And every day I make that choice. Every hour of every day I make that choice. I can be the victim, I can be the person who had a bit of a rough trot here and there, I can be the addict, I can be the depressed person, I can be the mad person, I can be the PTSD victim, I can be all these things. And every time I am those people, I'm not achieving what I want, and that is to be better every day than I was the day before. So I get to choose who I've become, or who I'm becoming, or who I can be. Those things aren't determined by somebody else. Those things aren't determined by my trauma, and those things certainly aren't determined by persons or people who have instigated that trauma against me. I get to choose that. I'm in charge of that. I'm not what happened to me. I'm what I choose to become. And then the third one is I think one for all of us, a great one for all of us to ask every day, and that is, what would you do if you weren't afraid? What would I do today if I wasn't afraid? What can I do today that scares the daylights out of me, but I'm going to do it anyway? What's the thing that I'm being held back from fear, but maybe I needn't be? Or even if it is fearful and frightening as buggery, maybe I should do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And I think that I get a lot more out of myself, and I grow a lot more, and all of those things when I ask myself, what will I do today? What would I do today if I wasn't afraid? And then I actually get out and try and do it. Some days, most days, I don't go anywhere near that, but some days I do. And those are the great days. Those are the days I do really create a lot and push myself out of where I think at least, other people expect me to be, and that's not the place I want to be. Thinking a lot about creativity, and how creativity is really a bit of a lifeline to me. It's really a way that I can just step out of myself and my history and my story that goes into my head and start to create something else. And in my case, I can't draw, right? And I can't paint, but I can write. And in my own world, I can sing, and I can do these things. I can have music in my life coming from me as well as into me. I don't have to share those things with the world. Those things are for me. Most of my writing I don't share with the world. I don't share with anyone. My journal stuff, nobody will ever see. It's not because it's shameful or hidden or secret or whatever. It's just for me. It's just so I can get shit out of my head and onto a screen or onto paper or whatever it might be. and create. And a lot of us, I think, are burdened by the fact that we think we're not very creative. We think we can't draw, we can't sing, we can't paint, we can't write, so therefore we can't create. And I just think you're missing a really, really big, valuable thing in your life if you can't see creativity for what it is. And that is, I made this, or I can change this, or I can express myself in this way. And I've said this before, but I think, if you're somebody who can make a bed better than anybody else can make a bed, or if you make a killer cup of tea, or if you're really good at veggie lasagna, or if you're really good at reverse parking, or whatever it might be, that's creativity. That's the achievement of something that's inside of you, expressing that to come out of you and having other people witness it or not isn't the relevant part. The relevant part is that you were able to make that. That came from you. That was once in you, and now it's out of you. And the best thing, the single best thing about being a writer for a living is that people are interested in my thoughts. And they're so interested in my thoughts that they'll pay for it. They'll buy a book that I've written from my thoughts. Like, how fucking cool is that? That's the great payoff for creativity isn't the few dollars I get when a book's sold by the time the margin and everything else is taken out by the time that money gets to me. That's not the great profit of it. That's not the great margin. The great profit of it is that somebody else sees my work and my thoughts as valuable enough to change their life in some way, that they get those thoughts in a book or a video or whatever it might be, and they consume it, and then they do what they want with it. Sometimes they'll just completely disregard it and move on with their life. Sometimes they'll take little bits of it. Sometimes they take quite a bit on. Sometimes I know from people who give me feedback that stuff I say resonates with people in whatever way. So that's the real payoff for me, is that somebody is interested in my thoughts enough that they would let that change their life, or enough that they would pay to have my thoughts in their home, in their head, in their hands, whatever it might be. That's the gift of creativity. And, if you can't see that something you do is better than everybody else, making a bed, mopping a floor, parking a car, making a cake, cutting a toasted sandwich in half, whatever it might be, that's your creativity, that's your gold. And I really hope you can get that out of you. Today, do it today. Think about that. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Well, do that. Create something today. Send it to me. Take a photo of it. Do whatever you want. But get that shit out of you, right? Because honestly, you don't want to die with the music in you. There's nothing sadder than somebody who doesn't achieve potential they know they have. And I just think that's a really sad thing. And I don't want that to happen to you or anyone I'm connected with. So create something today and send me some evidence of it. I would love to see it.